All right. I think we started this video off with a cough. That's a good start. But so today I'm talking about another legend. Now, there are people that I've mentioned that are younger artists that I would call like a legend. I mean, you got to throw John Legend in the category if we're talking about legend, Alicia Keys, Leon Bridges. These are phenomenal artists. But when we're talking about this artist and Stevie Wonder and artists like that, this is a whole nother level. These are people who uh, they put down the foundation for all artists that came after them. And you cannot talk about this artist without reverence. I happen to have a poster of her right there, and I'm talking about Aretha Franklin. Now, I want to talk about how I came to really know and love Aretha Franklin. I think one of my earliest experiences of seeing and listening to Aretha Franklin was in the movie Blues Brothers. I grew up in a family that really loved Saturday Night Live, and especially John Belushi. John Belushi being from like Martha's Vineyard. My dad was from Taunton, Massachusetts. My parents went to John Belushi's grave. There's this sort of tradition. They encourage you to go drink a beer on John Belushi's grave. So we have this photograph of my parents sitting on his grave drinking a beer. So we love Blues Brothers. We grew up watching that. And there's this fantastic scene there where Aretha Franklin sings "You Better Think," and it's so well done. She's got such a killer voice. I just remember really enjoying that performance. Recently, I watched a documentary about Aretha Franklin, and specifically this one release that she did, which was a live recording in a church of gospel music. She grew up as a pastor's daughter, so I'm talking about Amazing Grace is the documentary, which is really phenomenal. And then, of course, we have this outstanding biopic that came out called Respect, which had Jennifer Hudson as Aretha Franklin. Jennifer Hudson, another phenomenal artist. So there's so many interesting things you can jump into if you're wanting to learn more about Aretha Franklin and her life, and I highly encourage you to do that. Let's talk about the albums I have by her. This is an artist where the albums that I have, I came by through yard sales, secondhand shops, that kind of thing. So first of all, we have this one. This is the first Aretha Franklin album that I got. This is one that I think my mom found this for me at an estate sale or a yard sale. It's called Aretha Live at Fillmore West. This is an older album. It's not a repressing. I'm trying to see if I can see the year very quickly, and of course I don't ever do the work to look before I try and do this. But I don't know. Let's see. Oh. I'm grabbing the wrong thing here. So let's see. This jacket is in such good shape for an album that's older like this. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to tell you right off the bat. But let's talk about what is on this album. Respect, Love the One You're With, Bridge Over Troubled Water. I mean, how can you go wrong with Aretha covering Simon and Garfunkel, which I love both of them as well. Eleanor Rigby, so we've got some Beatles on here too. Make It With You. Don't Play That Song. Side 2, we've got Dr. Feelgood. We got Spirit in the Dark. We got another Spirit in the Dark reprise with Ray Charles. We got Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand. So this is an interesting album. I mean, some interesting covers on here. And of course, you got to have Respect, which if you're not aware, and hopefully everyone is by this point, Respect was a cover. It was an Otis Redding song that she performed. All right, let's see. 1971. 1971 is when this album came out. This is a gatefold. So, yeah, very, very interesting album overall. King Curtis on here playing as well. What an interesting album. So we've got that one, and then we've got also this one. I think this one I bought off of a friend who was selling records. They had a handful of records, so it's a Aretha Franklin Who's Zoomin' Who. Not not an album I would have immediately picked by her, but she had this album. It looked like it was in good shape, and you can't go wrong with a little Aretha, right? So if I can get this one out, let's see here. So this one, the jewel case the jewel case. The sleeve, not in quite as good a shape. This is a 1983 album, and this one has Freeway of Love, Another Night, Sweet Bitter Love, Who's Zoomin' Who, Sisters Are Doing It for Themselves, which is a duet with the Eurythmics. Hey, that's an interesting one. I mean, there's some interesting collaborations in Aretha's career here, right? Until You Say You Love Me, Push, which is a duet with Peter Wolf with Carlos Santana on guitar. We've got Ain't Nobody Ever Loved You, and we've got Integrity, which has a trumpet solo by Dizzy Gillespie. So again, some really interesting people showing up on this album, this 1980s Aretha album. So would I get some more Aretha? I think the answer to that is absolutely yes. I still have some Aretha that I need that I don't have. But I think at this point, before I go get some more Aretha, there's still some phenomenal artists that I don't have. And normally I don't spend much time in these videos talking about the artists that I don't have, but I could use some Etta James, you know. I think she's one of those that I really most regret that I don't have any of right now. But so Aretha Franklin, if you don't have her in your collection, you got to fix that. You need some Aretha in your collection.